My parking area is one car down. And today we'll talk about that and why I no longer own the 3. So first we should talk about why I bought the 3. I had a Model X at the time, and I knew that my Rivian was coming soon, and I wanted to trade the X for the Rivian. And obviously when doing that, I needed to get the best price. I tested a few places locally just to see, what would they offer. And the highest offer I got was $106,000. Now the Model X, I had paid $150,000 for, so that's kind of a lot to lose. Almost $50,000 just to lose because they wouldn't offer it. I checked with Rivian to see, what would they offer on trade-in. I would have to drive the X to Illinois to trade it, but just to see what they would offer. And they came back with 97, so that wasn't working either. And I almost gave up hope. I almost just called it because I wasn't giving my car away. Like $50,000 was too much to lose for that car. As a last ditch effort, I decided to try a trade-in with Tesla just to see what they would offer. And Tesla really is the only one that would value the fact that it had full self-driving. So they came back with $127,000. That's almost $20,000 more. Actually, it is $121,000 more than anyone. The highest offer, $21,000 more. And I felt like, I'm not giving the car away in this sense, but I'm also not getting that much cash because with Tesla, you have to trade in. That's how it works. You trade in. They don't just buy cars. So I thought, well, I'll buy the cheapest car they have on the lot, and I'll just put it on Turo or something. I don't know. I've been wanting to try that anyway, so I had the money. Let's see what happens. I went back and forth with this idea for a few days because at the time Tesla was offering $3,750 off plus 10,000 free supercharger miles. And to me, the 10,000 supercharger miles was, it's over $1,000 in value. I'm not exactly sure the value. I could probably add it up, but it was valuable to me. Yeah, I get you're technically paying for it, but in the end, it's free. So I went back and forth with this idea for a little while, kind of bounced back in between, and I had come to the conclusion that I wasn't going to do that. My conclusion was that I just was going to wait on the Rivian because I wasn't going to give my car away, and there was no point in me trading it to Tesla for a car I really didn't need. It didn't make any sense. Well, that night Tesla announced that they would up the discount from $3,750 to $7,500, and I was like, okay, we're getting into some real money here. Like the car base price was $47,990. You knock $7,500 off, we're just over $40,000 here for a brand new car, and not a really bad car either. So that's what I did. I went ahead and ordered it. Traded my X in. It did take several months to get my refund from Tesla. That was a headache and a half, as you might imagine. But aside from that, I bought the car and I enjoyed it, and I put it on Turo, and I really did enjoy driving it because it was, it was so rear-wheel drive, lightweight. It did really good on efficiency. And I took it all the way to Cades Cove from my house and back through Pigeon Forge on one single charge. That truck just cut me off, so cool. Anyway, I've never had a car get that kind of range on a single charge. That was crazy. and it's supposed to be the standard range. It's not supposed to be a long range vehicle, which was even crazier. Really impressed with the car. But, the more I drove it, the more I realized this really isn't me. I bought it for Turo, and Turo didn't go very well. We'll talk about that. So now I'm stuck with, do I keep the car? And I'm 6'5". I don't like getting down into a little car. And above that, if I'm going to have a Tesla, I'm going to want the all-wheel drive version, just in case. I'm going to want the long-range version, and heck, if I'm going to go that far, it's only a couple thousand more. Let's just go ahead and do performance, because it's only a couple thousand more, like the price difference is no longer $10K for a performance. So that's what I did. I bought this car, which is a Model Y performance, not a long range. It is technically a long range performance. But, this car was everything the other car wasn't. Sure, it's not as efficient, and it doesn't get as good, watt hour per mile. I think my trip to work is 70 miles per day, round trip. The other car could do it for $2. This car does it for $3. So, what's the difference? When you've got a Rivian, then it costs like $10 to do the same trip, I might be exaggerating. Anyway, yeah. So I decided that I really didn't need the rear-wheel drive Model 3. It didn't really serve a purpose. And so I started looking to see, what kind of money could I get for it? That was kind of the biggest thing when I bought it was, I stand to lose $21,000 by not trading my X in to Tesla. And there's no way I'll lose $21,000 on this one when I go to sell it. So it's a win-win. So I started trying to find an offer. And given that I had paid 41 or 40,000 and some change plus tax, I'd say 41. Basically, I wanted to try to get as close to that number as possible. And so I went to a local dealer just to see what they would offer, and they offered 37. And I was like, that's really not bad. But if they're offering 37, I bet I can do better. There's got to be someone else offering better. So, I did the usual online, Carvana, Vroom. Vroom would not offer on it. They're just like, yeah, no, we're not buying Teslas. But Carvana came back 70, what was it, 70? No, 37.5. And I was like, okay, that's better than the local dealer. But I don't know. We'll see. I sat on it. I listed it on Facebook for 39. I felt like that was my number. I would get rid of it for 39. I only stood to lose about $1,000 in some tax. That was basically it. So I listed it for 39. And I had a guy message me. He's like, hey, I want to come see it, maybe test drive it. I've got some questions about it. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. When would you like to come see it? Tomorrow. Oh, okay. Yeah, come on, A lot of Facebook messages are really just, oh, is this still available? And then they disappear forever. So I don't take much expectations with Facebook. I don't expect it to go very far. So, guy messaged me and says, yeah, I'm coming today to look at it. I'm thinking, oh, wow, he actually is going to come look at it. That's cool. So, that morning, I get an email from Carvana. Your car's value has gone up. Click here for a new quote. So I click it, and they're offering $40,500. Their offer changed. I had to think about that for a second because when I clicked it, $40,500, I was like, oh, that's more than I'm getting for it today. But then I had to go in and realize that they had the mileage wrong on it. And I was like, oh, I've got to correct the mileage. And funny enough, it wasn't a mileage correction in their favor. It was a mileage correction in my favor. They had the mileage listed as 4,000 because that's what they estimated was on it. it only had 3,600. So I went in to update the mileage to 3,600, and they lowered the offer to 40,200, which it was still better than I got, would have gotten if I'd sold it to the guy, but whatever. Anyway, the guy comes up. He's an older guy, he and his wife, and he had a lot of questions, which, he's never owned a Tesla, never drove a Tesla, didn't know anything about Tesla. So he had a lot of questions about it, and I just took my time and explained the whole thing to him and tried to help him out best I could. It took 3 hours just, to talk to him and teach him about the car and how to use it and stuff. But he ended up buying it for $39,000. No questions asked, no negotiation. And honestly, I'm happy with it. Yes, I could have sold it to Carvana for $1,200 more in the end. But, then you'd have to deal with the Carvana headache of them coming to pick it up and them having to, wait on them to cut you the check, and, what headaches might come with that. I heard horror stories about both them and Vroom. Last time I tried Vroom, it was fine, but, it may not always go that way. So, I'm happy with what happened. And we did a wire transfer, so the money was there instantly. It was not like it wasn't a matter of, now I gotta wait for this guy's check to clear or anything like that. No, he did wire transfer right there, in front of me. So, all was good. Everything went well. Car is gone, and I ended up getting a pretty decent amount for it. I think I lost in the end maybe like $2,000 if you count the taxes. So not a big deal. Not $20,000 where I was going to lose on my X. So the goal was reached. And now I don't have a fourth car in my lot. So I have 3 wall connectors and I have 3 cars. So I can leave all 3 cars plugged in at the same time, keep them all topped up, and I don't have to worry about changing them out left and right to keep one car charged. So that's fun. But let's get back to Turo. Let's talk about that right quick before I end. How did Turo go, and why did it not go well? So, I already answered that first question, didn't I? My biggest thing about Turo was that I wanted to do it with a cheap car to start with. I wanted to try with this cheap car, see how it went. If it didn't, or if it did go well, I was going to try to buy a Tesla and move into something a little better. In the end, my end goal was to do Teslas because there's no maintenance, there's no anything. You just run the car. That's pretty much it. Clean it and run it. Maybe tires every now and then. That's about it. And, the lack of cost for maintenance on a Tesla would have made up for the profits that I may have gotten on a cheaper car. But I wanted to try a cheaper car just to see how it worked first, and it didn't work out that way. We were just in a time where cars were really expensive and cheap cars weren't an option. And so if I was going to have to spend $25 on a car, cheap car, as you might call it, why wouldn't I go ahead and, spend the difference and get the Tesla, not have to deal with the maintenance, not have to deal with any of that, and move on? So that's what I did. I listed the Tesla, and it sat there for about 2 weeks, nothing. And I thought, well, maybe I'm too high. Maybe I need to lower my price. And as I'm going to go lower the price, I get a booking. A guy books it for 3 days during the weekend. I think it was the weekend. Yeah, it was the weekend. And he messages me. He's never driven a Tesla before. He just wanted to try it. And I'm just like, hey, that's, this might be a good rental. So the guy, he wants airport pickup. That's a little bit challenging for me because I live 70 miles round trip from the airport. So I have to get someone to take me over there to, get away back home. But then the airport does not allow Turo. They actually strictly ban Turo. So if you get caught doing Turo on the airport property, they will just tow your car and it's at your expense. Good luck. So I didn't want to leave the car there for the guy to pick it up because I thought, if they figure out it's Turo, they're going to be towing my car. So I arranged to do curbside pickup with the guy, where I would just meet him at the curb, give him the car, and then I would walk away. that seemed to work pretty well. Met him at the curb, gave him the car, off we went. He drove it for the 3 days. You know, I watched it on the app. I know they say, you're not supposed to do that. Like, just let it go. You're not supposed to care about it, whatever. I watched it on the app. He didn't really do anything stupid. No high speed, no police chases, none of that. He charged it while he had it. He did not supercharge it, which was awesome. You know, supercharging costs, and it's just a kind of another thing to have to go through when you bill the renter for their supercharging. But no, he slow charged it and brought it up to 100%, and it was fine. So he brought it back to me with like 80-some%, which is, you know, I told him he didn't have to do that, but whatever. So yeah, all went well. And I thought, okay, that really wasn't so bad. I met him curbside to pick the car back up, as you know, at the ticket counter, so he could pull off, go to the tickets, and I'd take the car. That overall went pretty well, and I was like, all right, you know, we could do this. And he rented it at full price, so I didn't need to drop the price, so I just didn't. I didn't drop the price. And I thought, you know, the price I'm offering is decent, and we'll just go with that. And it sat there, and it sat there, and it sat there, and no one ever rented it. And I took my chances, and I enabled unlimited mileage, which I didn't really want to do, but I just thought, you know, like, I'm not getting bookings, so let's try unlimited mileage. So I unlimited mileaged it, and nothing, no bookings. And so I gave, and I started dropping the price, and I dropped it. At one point, it was $60 a day unlimited mileage, and no bookings. And I was like, you know what? This is not worth it anymore. $60 a day, unlimited mileage. This is economy car now. It's not a Tesla. I'm not doing that. I'm not giving my car away. So I took my unlimited mileage off. I went back to $100 a day, which was my original price, and I just let it sit there. And I was like, you know what? If it don't rent, it don't rent. Fine. And I left it on Turo until the day I sold it. I actually removed it while I was on the way taking the car to meet the guy to show it to him. I got one booking in that entire time, and it's been on Turo since December, the end of December, until what is it? Mid-April. So yeah, no, that did not work. And Turo was a lot of work, actually, because you know, I had to take time out of my day to make sure the car was clean, to deliver the car, to go pick the car back up. It's not a passive income at all, which was what I was kind of expecting it to be. So, yeah, we called that quits. I probably won't be doing Turo ever again. I might if I get like an economy car and can try that route. But at this point, I don't think I'm going to be doing Turo anymore. Or no plans to ever again. And I'm glad to get rid of the car. Turo wise, I made $250 profit. And then, you know, selling the car, I only lost a little over $1,000, whatever you want to count with taxes. So I don't feel like I did too bad. I feel like I did pretty decent with it, and happy to move it on. You know, I didn't really need it. It wasn't serving a purpose. I did still average about 1,000 miles a month. I drove it quite a bit just because, you know, if I wanted to go on a trip somewhere, I would take it. I didn't bother with taking my other cars. So, yeah, that was it. That's the story of the Model 3 and why I don't own it anymore. I may have another story about this Model Y coming up soon, but we'll talk about that later. And yeah.